turn to Rob Bluey on this, President, Executive Director at the Daily Signal. So we were looking at the story on and off throughout the day. We said maybe there's pressure coming from Trump folks, Republicans, to say get Robinson out, that he's dragging down the top of the ticket. I guess he's staying in. Thoughts from North Carolina?
North Carolina is a must-win state for Donald Trump. Obviously, he has performed well there in the past. Republicans have been divided over who they wanted for governor, and so Mark Robinson doesn't necessarily have unanimous support even among the GOP in that state. This is a big distraction, obviously, at a critical time in the election. I don't think that the Trump-Vance ticket probably welcomes this, and that's probably why Mark Robinson did not appear at the events with J.D. Vance yesterday.
Now, it's interesting because a lot of times, this is an interesting year, right, politically. A lot of times we look at the top of the ticket, say, are down ballot races, what's the effect of who's ever at the top? Now, in multiple states, I'm thinking Arizona Senate's another one, we're looking at the other races, right, and we're saying, well, what's the effect on the presidential race going to be? What do you think it is, Robinson, if he's telling the truth that all these things are out there and the controversies that are already around him are there, and he stays in? What's the effect on the presidential race?
Well, obviously, Mark Robinson has won statewide. He's the lieutenant governor right now. He has a base of support among conservatives. I mean, I've seen him speak at many conservative conferences over the years. He's a dynamic speaker. And so I think that there will be that core group of supporters. But I think what you're going to see in states, Arizona, Pennsylvania, maybe North Carolina, is split ticket voters. There will be those individuals who may decide to vote for a Democrat for one office and a Republican for the other office. And that will have dramatic effects on the outcome of this election. Let's face it. The U.S. Senate is basically a 50-50 tie right now, and control of the Senate, whether it's Republican or Democrat, will come down to a few of those key states. And if they do decide to split the ticket in Pennsylvania or Arizona, that could determine whether or not a Republican or a Democrat is running the show.
It could. Also, the White House, I mean, the Senate, I would say, we talked about the map earlier, still advantage Republicans. We have it about 70-30 percentage-wise on who's going to win and have control, that the Republicans still, because of the map, have the advantage. On the DDHQ side of things, as we call it, guys, we have North Carolina. So we have it as a toss-up in the presidential race, right, Rob? And the win probability, because you look at all these things, registration and past results and the like, is still 64% GOP, even though, look at that, Harris is actually up 0.1. So if they're pressuring this guy to get out, that's why a Democrat hasn't won since 2008 when Obama won. He lost when he ran for re-election against Romney. So they say that's just way too close for comfort. Because think about it, if Harris loses Pennsylvania, that's her path, right? She could take North Carolina and or Georgia.
That's absolutely correct. I mean, she would need to win those southern states if she doesn't survive in Pennsylvania. And we know that Donald Trump has performed well in Pennsylvania in the past, including in 2016. So you have a situation, though, where a Democrat is currently in the governor's office in North Carolina. So they've proven that they can win statewide. It's not an assured victory for Trump. I think that's probably why that you're going to see Donald Trump focus more attention on states like North Carolina. And it's going to be critical for him to win in places like that if he's going to return to the White House. One final point on this, I will say that for all of the bluster there is about Kamala Harris going on Oprah Winfrey and whatnot, let's not forget that Donald Trump had an important appearance yesterday on Gutfeld and tried to present a lighter side. So I think that both candidates are appealing to voters with the intent of trying to win over those moderates who maybe still are undecided.
I don't know how many moderate voters Greg has in his audience, but he may, but you're right about the lighter side of things. It's interesting, and just big picture, before we let you go, Rob, what do you think of, we went through this in detail at the top of the hour. This race is the same race. It's the same, if you start averaging the polls, same race it was post-debate, pre-debate, it doesn't matter, same numbers.
You're absolutely correct. I think Trump has gained probably a little bit of ground over the course of the past month. Kamala Harris, of course, had a very favorable start in the first few weeks that she was introduced as the nominee. But post-debate, I think the American people are still wanting to hear more from her, what her policies will be if she is the president. And right now, it's neck and neck. You hear the internal polls tend to favor Trump. But I don't know. When you look at the overall picture of the map, we could be in for a long night on November 5th.
That's why this North Carolina story, every story really, is important. Thank you, Rob. Good to have you on again. Rob
Thanks, Connell.
Bluey there, Daily Signal. Okay.